This episode of the TV Binges Pilot Roundtable is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Hello and welcome back to the TVBinges.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I am joined as always by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's celebrating the return of Kevin James to the small screen. It's Olivia Richards! Hello!
That's exactly what I was doing.
We've named August Kevin James Month here on TV Binges.
I don't think anyone's ready for that.
No one. The world isn't ready. And because we are talking about Kevin James, you must know that we are previewing the upcoming pilots for CBS. If you missed us talking about the ABC pilots, that episode is currently up on our iTunes feed, so be sure to check that out. But this is our second pilot preview, and we are talking about what's lovingly referred to as the Tiffany Network, the sort of gold standard of television networks, at least as far as old people are concerned. So our first CBS drama is called Bull, and it is a crime procedural that stars Michael Weatherly as a lawyer who is also an expert psychologist and who specializes in reading juries. And it is based on the practice of the one and only Dr. Phil McGraw. Olivia, what are thoughts on this one?
That's how you know it's going to be a winning TV show when it's based off of Dr. Phil.
Oh yeah, we need more Dr. Phil in our lives.
Oh my god, there's never enough. I don't know. It kind of like the whole show, based on what they had up as their trailer, had kind of like a castle kind of vibe where you have this kind of like smarmy, cocky central character who is basically taking the entire crime procedural narrative and kind of trying to flip it on its head and make it a little bit fresh and different. But I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet.
I don't know. Fresh and different are not words that I would use to describe this trailer.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's true. This to me reads like just about every sort of crime procedural in the last 7-8 years. It reminds me a lot of Lie to Me, the Fox procedural. But it also reminds me a lot of like every procedural, which is that it's a sort of central character who is a genius at something, who is now has a team of people around him or her, usually him, and basically every week accomplishes tasks using said genius. And the character does not look anything like Dr. Phil, which is interesting.
I thought it was Mark Paul Gosselaar, which I was really confused when it wasn't.
Oh, so yeah.
Basically where I'm at.
I wish Zach Morris was involved in this. but yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. There was nothing wrong with this trailer, I don't think. It seemed like a very competent, very well put together show with good performances and sort of it checks all the check boxes you would want from a crime procedural. I just don't know if I need it. I don't know if I need this show in my life.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah. So do you give this one a thumbs up or thumbs down for Bull?
I mean, you know, my great love and passion for the standard crime procedural. So I think for me, it's probably going to be a thumbs down.
I know I'm talking to someone who's watched every Law and Order, so
every single one.
Everyone, yeah. I should say that it is called Bull, because the main character's name is, if you haven't guessed yet, Dr. Bull. Naturally. So I am going to give this one a tepid thumbs down. I'm sure it's going to be very competent, but I'm just at a point where I don't need shows that are sort of paint by numbers procedurals. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got next?
All right. So up next we have Doubt. So this one's a little bit interesting because there actually wasn't an official trailer up because from what I understand, it's been going through some rewrites and a little bit of a reboot with the casting.
Bad sign.
Yeah, exactly. So, from what we have as a description, a defense lawyer, played by the great Katherine Heigl, starts to fall for her client, who's on trial for a brutal murder. So, the cast that we do have, what the show can give us, I think, right now is a really awesome cast, which includes Laverne Cox, DeLay Hill, Elliot Gould, and Dreama Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I hear Katherine Heigl legal drama, and I'm out instantly because as Katherine Heigl's had some success, and I'm no personal beef with her, but she's had a run of pretty bad shows in a row now. I feel like we've talked about Katherine Heigl pilots at least twice on this podcast, which is not a good sign.
What's the most recent one? I'm completely blanking on the name. It's also a really bad sign.
Yeah, it was very forgettable, but I remember. I remember watching it. And talking about
she had PTSD, and I remember the opening scene was her waking up on the couch of her therapist or something.
State of Affairs.
That's it.
State of Affairs, of course.
That's the one.
Yeah, didn't go well.
Nope.
I mean, not well at all. But yeah, so I don't know if I need a Katherine Heigl legal drama, but as you mentioned, Laverne Cox, the first transgender actress playing a transgender character on television, which I think is very interesting, and it's certainly a reason to check this one out. If for no other reason than it's breaking some barriers here. Like you said, this has been a troubled production. The fact that it doesn't even have a trailer up yet. I know it's a mid-season replacement, but it seems like there should be a trailer. So it's probably problematic. I would say. Yeah,
and I saw the cast list and I was really excited, but I don't think we need another kind of glossy crime procedural that doesn't really have much going for it in terms of actual content, or in this case, as we've said multiple times, a trailer.
Yeah. I mean, there's sort of the only stuff for this online is an info page on CBS.com, and it is the most generic, cliche-filled description you could ever imagine. It seems like they wanted a show with Katherine Heigl and they wanted a show with Laverne Cox, I think. And they didn't really have an idea for what that show would be, so they sort of slapped together something, and then it didn't work. But they know they want the actresses that they have, but they just don't really have an idea for how it's all going to work out. And unless they pull some magic out of the bottle, I don't think this one's going to go well. So it's a thumbs down for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with that. I can't imagine that this is going to be anything that's going to stay on TV for that long.
Yeah. Our next show was on TV for quite a long time and then took a lengthy hiatus and has now been revived. It's a remake of the classic ABC drama about a detective who solves crimes through ingenuity and little inventions. It's MacGyver. What about this one, Olivia?
So we're getting a MacGyver remake, but did we need a MacGyver remake? Because right now the one thing that I saw from the trailer is that it's basically going to be everything that you loved from an 80s and 90s classic, plus technology this time, updated, tech-savvy craziness.
Yeah, it stars Lucas Till and George Eads. You may know the latter as Nick from the original CSI. I was like, hey, Nick, happy to see you, buddy. Yeah. If you asked me, do we need a MacGyver remake before watching this trailer, I think I would have said yes. Because it seems like exactly the kind of show that I want a remake of. It's a fun, it lends itself perfectly to the procedural format. It's it's a good time. But then after seeing this trailer, my answer is no, I don't need a MacGyver remake.
Nope.
Because I don't really like MacGyver. I don't know. I don't know if this needs to be a young man's role. I don't know if this needs to be a man's role, period. But it certainly doesn't need to be a young man's role. I like my MacGyver to be... I wish they had went old with him. I wish it would have been the most interesting man in the world, kind of. An old, scruffy bearded... Right? Isn't that more interesting than, a 22-year-old who's really good with technology? Isn't that, the lamest take on MacGyver?
I think that's kind of a running theme, and we're going to be talking more about that as we go down the list. But I think CBS is having a little bit of a battle with how technology works, or really, if we're going to go broader, what it is in general.
Yeah.
It's been a weird experience viewing these trailers, because I'm sitting here really wondering... If CBS gave you a phone call, it would probably be like, oh, my computer isn't working. And then you'd be like, oh, you just have to turn it on and off again. And then it would be okay. And they would just hang up.
Right. Well, first of all, that scenario assumes CBS has computers, which I don't know.
I was being generous.
I think you're giving them a little too much credit. Yeah, no, this is the first of about 9 CBS shows that appear to be center around the idea of modern technology and how people interact with it. I don't like from the trailer this interpretation of who MacGyver is. I think it's much more interesting if MacGyver was someone who was sort of older and experienced and had a lot of tricks. I don't know if I like young, clever MacGyver. I don't know what that's getting me in terms of like anything. Like I would much rather have MacGyver be a guy who has to fasten his pocket knife to a stick so he can hit a button on the other side of the room because he's trapped in a cell. Like I don't know if I need MacGyver to be like a hacker who rigs up stuff with technology. Like I don't know.
I completely agree with that. It just made me laugh because he's going off like about all this, computer like tech savvy lingo, and then he's like, oh, like he's stuck on a plane, like, oh, does anyone have like bubble gum and like a paper clip? And I'm like, wait,
yeah,
what's happening right now? This is completely, they don't go together.
Not at all. So this one is a sad thumbs down for me. It has Scorpion potential, no doubt, but I saw that trailer and it was just like instantly no. It was just a no for me right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with that. I'm going to give it a big old Simon Cowell thumbs down.
So combined now we're 1 for 6 on thumbs up. CBS not off to a strong start.
We're going strong.
By the way, MacGyver had the most YouTube views of any of these trailers at 229,000. If you'll remember, there were multiple ABC shows with over 1 million views on their trailers. So I think CBS's audience doesn't use computers, so maybe it's not a good view for CBS. But
that's true. Okay. Yeah.
So what's our next show?
All right. So up next is Pure Genius, going along with, I think this is our most tech savvy one that we have.
Oh boy, is it ever!
So I know. A young Silicon Valley entrepreneur uses some of his fortune to fund a cutting-edge hospital run by a surgeon with a sketchy past.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, this is the first of multiple shows this season about tech billionaires solving the world's problems. Which and all those shows are on CBS and Fox, which I think is interesting. It really, doing ABC and then CBS really made me realize that ABC. Not to get too political, but it is the political season. But ABC is the network for old liberals. CBS is the network for old conservatives. Fox is the network for young conservatives. NBC is the network for young liberals. Like seeing this lineup of shows really crystallized that in my mind.
That's
right?
Painfully accurate.
Yeah, isn't that like, you see like ABC has all these very diverse family dramas. Like it's appealing to like liberals in their 50s. Fox and CBS have shows about billionaires fixing the world's problems, very much up the conservative alley. So, yeah. So, I mean, this is, the good thing about this one is it brings Dermot Mulrooney back, which means that we get to play everyone's favorite game, Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulrooney. Which is always fun.
That's an all sketch I've ever seen.
Yeah, right? So we get to play that for another season. I'm excited about that. It seems like they just switch pilots every year.
I think so, and they're trying to just keep everyone on their toes.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is like a medical procedural. It's about working in a hospital that's run by a tech billionaire, so he has all kinds of tech gadgets. And it's all about how, if you're private, you can avoid all the red tape and really solve the world's problems, yada yada. I'm sure it will find an audience, or maybe it won't, but that audience isn't me, sadly.
No, that's the thing. I just, I kind of got like a little bit of a House vibe with, a tech twist, surprise.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I feel like so much of the emphasis on these has just been on, hey, here's a really cool computer, and also here's a story. Yeah. Like, it hasn't been anything that I can see actually lasting. Because if your emphasis is purely on, like, new technology, like, you're kind of just, there's not much that you can sustain, or just there isn't an actual story there. Yeah, no,
this is definitely a show for people who are very impressed by the existence of fake modern technology. This is like, if you just love the idea of like invented cutting edge technology, this one's for you. Which, by the way, speaking of our friend from CSI was that show originally. Is that a lot of the technology on the original CSI wasn't real, but they sold it convincingly. So I think that there's a bit of that going on here, where they're trying to, invent like cool new gadgets and rely on the audience being impressed by those. And then there's, of course, a whole story with the billionaire himself is sick and he actually made the hospital because he wants to cure himself, yada yada. I mean, it's all pretty paint by numbers. If you're into that stuff, if you're over the age of 50, probably worth checking out. But other than that, I'm gonna pass. It's a thumbs down from me.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm curious about it. I think out of all of the dramas that we've done so far, this is the one I'm the most optimistic about, and that is not saying much at all. So I'm going to give it like 2 thumbs sideways.
Fair enough. Indecisive.
Exactly. I'm the undecided voter.
So we've got another remake, this one of a film that came out in 2001, which starred Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. The show based on it stars Justin Cornwell and Bill Paxton. It's called Training Day. Olivia, what did you think?
I mean, if you want to have an entire TV show made entirely of character tropes,
yeah,
this is a show for you. This is a trailer.
It was a trailer. Is it weird to be doing a show about cops who play by their own rules and definitely love shooting people at a time when like cops shooting people is like the center of the national conversation? Is that weird? Is it weird?
That's exactly what was going through my mind when I was watching. Because I'm like, you're not even playing a rogue cop. Essentially, Bill Paxton is just a very angry, insane guy with a gun.
Right.
And I don't know how I feel about that, but I do know that I don't feel great about it.
Yeah. I don't feel awesome. I didn't feel awesome watching this trailer. It definitely feels like a trailer from a different time. It feels like the kind of show that honestly could have existed in like the early 2000s or the late 90s, where it's like, yeah, the rogue cop who plays by his own rules is something that, you know, something that we can, he wears a leather jacket, he's so cool. It's like, now it's like, well, I don't know, I feel like even, no matter where you are politically, I hope you have a little more like full view of this. You know, it's like, this is like a real problem, is cops thinking exactly like this cop thinks. And the show is definitely going to try to be quote unquote down the middle about it, you know, like make him half wrong, half right. But it's like, I don't know if the sort of typical television treatment is really what I want to see here, for an issue that is so central right now to the national discourse. It seems a little bit tone deaf to me to be remaking this at this current time.
And that's exactly it. And even watching the trailer, it like almost painted Bill Paxton as the guy you're supposed to be rooting for because he doesn't play by the rules. Like, because he can just go out and like, you're almost seeing things from his perspective. Like, you have this new guy, and because he doesn't have as much experience, and he, you know, just wants to do what he's been trained to do. Even like what they were saying, like, oh, we're just going to drop you into the field and not actually train you at all. I'm like, that's not anything that would happen ever. Like, there's extension of like disbelief, and there's a certain amount of just creativity that can be involved in, you know, storytelling on TV. Mm-hmm. That's pushing it a lot. That's asking a lot from the audience.
Yeah, this one's not for me either. So I'm going to make it a clean sweep of dramas with another thumbs down.
Yeah, no, this is a big thumbs down.
Okay, well, what do we got to start off our comedies, Olivia?
Moving on from that, we've got The Great Indoors, a show I should feel really excited about, but unfortunately, no. So Joel McHale plays a magazine writer who leaves the field and becomes desk-bound, overseeing a group of younger, tech-oriented people in the magazine's digital operation. And if that sounded like a description that, like, you know, maybe your grandfather had written,
yeah,
that's not too far off.
Yeah.
Oh.
The CBS is premiering 3 comedies this season, and they all have the exact same premise. And that premise is, aren't millennials stupid? Isn't it stupid how, you know, we don't live in the older era anymore when men were men and they weren't little sissy boys? Like, that's pretty much what the premise of every CBS comedy is, as we'll get to. Joel McHale's a weird choice for the lead role in this show. I
was almost angry seeing him on this. I'm like, you can be doing so many other projects besides this right now, and I just really hope that this ends quickly so he can go on to do something that's more fitting for his time and talent.
I don't understand casting Joel McHale as a sort of old school man's man when he's coming from Community. He's obviously like a very sort of hip guy, you know, he's someone who definitely interacts with technology. I don't get that casting at all. I don't know if they're trying to appeal to the people they're making fun of or make it okay, but he does not strike me, even with a beard, he does not strike me at all as the outdoorsy type, and it's very weird for him to be presented as a sort of Ron Swanson style outdoorsman in this show. Like, I don't I don't buy it for a second. I like Joel McHale, but he is his persona and his on-screen presence is much closer to that of the magazine people who are being made fun of, as opposed to the outdoorsy guy who's sort of raging against this. It was very strange for me watching this trailer.
That's exactly what it was. And I mean, the fact that Stephen Fry popped up at one point, and you have so much talent happening on a show that took essentially zero brain power to actually write. I mean, they could have just called it Sweeping Generalizations, and it would have been a better title for what's happening here. It just, I'm watching it as a millennial, and it's like, you're watching something on CBS, so like, I understand it, but I don't know. It felt so out of touch for both generations being presented. It just... Yeah,
I think there's an interesting way to do a show like this where it would be, the premise would be reversed, where it's the outdoorsy guy is learning from the millennials, but then also sort of his mere presence is teaching them things. Where I think a more interesting version is someone trying to catch up with the modern world and feeling insecure about not being able to connect that way, as opposed to someone coming in and raging against the modern world. I just think that that's it's a subtle difference, but it's like, it sets the tone for the show, where now all the comedy is about making fun of these young people who work at a magazine. I don't think that that's interesting or funny. Like, I don't know how you wring out enough comedy for a series out of that. I think it's much more interesting for the comedy to be at the expense of the outdoorsy guy, and then in the end, he teaches the magazine worker something. But it's like, I don't know, it just seems very lazy and cliche and superficial to me.
That's exactly how I felt. And I just think if you approach comedy coming in and just pointing fingers automatically and saying, okay, well, you're wrong, you're already off to a bad start. Like, there's not going to be anything to build off of there. And then add a laugh track on top of it. I hate it. The second that I heard the laugh track, I just got angry, and then it continued, and no, it's a no for me as well. Down.
Now we've come to the pilot we've all been waiting for. It brings back the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin James, on the small screen with an amazing pun in the title. It is a multicam sitcom, of course it is, about a retired cop who now lives at home. His mission seems to be to stop his daughter from marrying a hipster. It's titled Kevin Can Wait. What did you think, Olivia?
I only wrote one thing down, and it's literally just, I hate sitcoms.
Yep.
There's nothing else. I hate sitcoms so much.
Look, I don't think we need to say a lot about this one. If you're like the world's biggest King of Queens fan, and you're over 70, then by all means, enjoy your laughs, enjoy your chuckles. But, I think for most people, I can't think of a single reason to watch this show.
No, I mean, if you didn't think, he could top himself at Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah, oh yeah, right, yeah. If Paul Blart Mall Cop is your favorite movie, and Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 is in your top 5 favorite movies, then please, by all means, watch this show. But for the rest,
it's going to be right up your alley.
Yeah. Okay. So it goes without saying that that's a thumbs down for both of us. What's our final show?
Yeah.
Final show.
All right. So we end with Man with a Plan.
Oh boy.
So yeah. So Matt LeBlanc plays a contractor who starts spending more time with his kids when his wife goes back to work.
Yeah.
And in traditional sitcom style, it's not as easy as he thought.
You're not going to believe this, but at the kindergarten that he takes his daughter to, there's a gentleman who could be, I think, described as a hipster with maybe I would say traditionally feminine qualities, maybe to put it in terms that the show would use. And Matt LeBlanc is aghast at this guy and very, very upset with his presence and wishes that he would be more of a man. Shock of all shocks, I know.
CBS is nailing it.
Yeah, we got CBS. How do you feel about
these nuanced characters?
Yeah, how do you feel about Matt LeBlanc from the trailer?
I love Matt. I love him just like from Friends. And why are all these actors on these shows? I don't understand. I mean, I feel like there's all the talent there. It's just none of the actual substance on any of these shows. And I want to see everyone on them go and do something better.
Yeah. Like, I guess if, like, it's a whole slate of shows designed for people who wish it was, like, 50 years ago. Like, who wish we were still in, like, the 50s. You know, like the start of Mad Men. People wish we were at the start of Mad Men right now. It's like a whole buffet for people who just wish the world would be like it was, and that men behave like men, and that all these whippersnappers and their internets would go away. It's just a whole field full of shows for that mindset. If that's your mindset, more power to you. I'm not here to hate. I think
you described it really well when you said that CBS was kind of like the old conservative go-to place.
Yeah, it hasn't gone like full Trump. Like, these shows aren't overtly racist.
I don't think anywhere can do that.
Well, wait, we haven't gotten to Fox yet. but it's like, this is like for old conservative, you know, like just middle of the country, salt of the earth conservative people who just, you know, where has the world gone to? It's like, that's fine. That's fine. It just, for my money, it's not doing it for me. These are all like boring, like forget about the politics. They're all just boring, cliched shows. That's my ultimate problem. If they were doing something different in terms of the premise or structure, then I'd be very willing to enjoy one of these shows. But it's just, they're all very much, they just feel tired already and they haven't even premiered yet.
Yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling right now.
Okay, so this might be a challenge, but we got to play our game, which is, your show that you are most sure of will succeed. And we're defining success by make it through the season unharmed.
God.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking through my list right now.
CBS, we should say, is also, like, traditionally the most successful network. And so a lot of shows do succeed on the network. It's just, we don't watch them.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm thinking I could see Bull being the most successful.
That was my choice as well. I'm gonna have to choose a different one because it's not a game if we choose the same show.
That's true. We
yeah.
have options for ABC.
Well, why do you see Bull being the most successful? Well, I choose my own.
I think that in terms of just creativity with anything involving the characters or the plot or just in general crime procedurals, they're at least trying to do something different. So I could see people kind of either wanting to see the new technology or wanting to just see something that they hadn't seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, people, I mean, I will say one of the great pleasures of sort of mindless TV is watching geniuses. That's why they always build shows around them. It's fun to watch someone who's really, really good at what they do. And so I think Bull is definitely trying to capture that. And to be fair, I don't think there's ever been a show about, like, jury manipulation. So it's like, it's, I guess, unique in that regard.
Yeah.
So I've been looking through this list of shows, and I am really struggling to find one that I think is actually going to succeed. I might, no, I was gonna say The Great Indoors, because
I briefly considered it. I hate it so
I know, I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to root for it.
I'm so angry at it that I couldn't let it happen.
Look, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Man with a Plan. And here's why. I think people like Matt LeBlanc. I think they'll tune in for him. I think one of these three comedies has to succeed. I refuse to give in to the dystopian vision that is a world where a show called Kevin Can Wait succeeds. So it's 1 out of 2 right there. I don't think CBS's audience will buy Joel McHale as the outdoorsman. So I'm gonna rule out The Great Indoors. So that leaves Man with a Plan. It's Matt LeBlanc being sort of, you know, charming in a way. It doesn't seem to be aggressive in its hatred of sort of modern times. The dramas, I would have chosen Bull. MacGyver has the most YouTube views. It's definitely going to have the biggest initial ratings, but it's like, are people really gonna watch MacGyver for 2 seasons? I don't know. So,
I don't think so. I think that's...
Yeah. Yeah, Training Day seems destined to fail. Pure Genius, I could see it, but I could also see that one going off after 3 episodes. Yeah, by process of elimination, I'm gonna say Man with a Plan finds some kind of foothold and makes it to a 2nd season. But I don't feel good about it.
No.
Okay, so what is your first canceled CBS show?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to say, without a doubt, It's gonna have to be down. I mean, this thing is not looking promising at all so far.
You're killing me. You took my 2.
I did. Oh
no. Okay. I am going to say Training Day. I think Training Day. I just don't think anyone's going to watch it. I don't know what audience it's trying to capture. I think a lot of people have fond memories of the film. The second that they see Denzel isn't involved in this one and Ethan Hawke's not involved in this one, I don't know why you would watch. I just don't.
I think that's fair. I think that's a really, really fair point.
Okay. Wow, that was dire. I gave all thumbs down, Olivia.
No, neither of us are excited about what's to happen to us in the upcoming months.
So I think our next network is going to be the CW, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay, that'll be a short one. Hopefully we'll find something to be excited about there. In the meantime, you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Or find us at SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia, and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Until next time.